news to know along the way. If you go back and look at the tape, you say, well, that round could have gone the other way.
Yeah, but, you know, the way I think is that once the bell rings, there's no champion, no challenger. If you win a round, you win the round. If you win one more round than the other guy, you take the title. That's it.
You know, I think what is shown in this fight more than anything in the world certainly is if Canizales does win, his desire, and it's also going to be, and you hit it right off the top of the show, 33 years of age is going to be a telltale sign. 4 years younger is Canizales, and maybe that's what the dividends are right now.
Well, there's no doubt that Vasquez is slower. There seems to be evidence that he's had less energy throughout the fight. He's been pretty sluggish except for a few spurts there. And, you know, maybe Jesse Reed is right. Canizales is fighting an old fighter. Not an old man, but an old fighter. Please, what does it mean for us?
I refuse to answer any more of these questions.
Take the fifth.
That's right. Or a Corona, whichever comes first.
Take both. In the meantime, this is another close round, another difficult one to score, but in my eyes, Canizales has been the aggressor.
Yeah, it's almost like is a judge, does he like counterpunching? If he does, Vasquez has had a few, but not enough. Does he like an aggressive fighter? Well, Canizales would have that. So, again, it depends on what side of the ring and how the judges will score here on what they like in a fighter.
Right. Canizales has clearly made the fight. And I think if you took all the clean punches and added them up, I think that more of them came from Canizales. Nobody's really been hurt, and at that point, it's truly a tough fight to score.
Closing seconds of round 12. Could it be a new world title for Orlando Canizales? A tough defense of the title by Wilfredo Vasquez. 8,000 would love to see it come to a close abruptly, but it's not going to happen as there's the bell, and we've got to go to the cards.
Well, on my card, I got Canizales fight 2 again. The last 3 rounds, and as far as I'm concerned, he should win the fight.
Just virtually everybody from Puerto Rico is now in the ring as they surround what they feel is their champion, and Jesse Reed Jr. is listing the man up that they feel has won the title here tonight.
Jesse Reed Jr., of course, is not an old man, and he's still capable of doing things like that.
He is indeed, but he still calls me sir, which is, I got
that's because he's a young man. Of course he calls you sir.
His crowd again of more than 8,000, and of course his hometown of Laredo here in big numbers tonight as they took busloads up. Canizales, again, as I made mention, one of his biggest fights of all, stopping Billy Hardy in their rematch in the 8th round in the heat of Laredo with more than 5,000 there. One of the national television networks on and looking on, but that is now history as there's a new page maybe to be written.
He doesn't look very confident to me. I'm sorry.
Blood looked a little lower than it did when he opened up this whole thing, didn't it? Canizales looking very comfortable across the way.
You know, one side is going to be unhappy with this decision, no matter which way it goes. It's a close fight, and you can argue it either way. I just think Canizales did enough to win the fight. I wasn't thrilled by it, but I was interested all the way through. And, you know, if the judges watch it the way I did, I think Orlando wins it.
Well, reluctantly, the Puerto Rican band starts to strike out, but I think you can kind of hear that their enthusiasm is not quite what it was when this fight started.
Dude, I mean, they're never playing ballads, which is not really...
Inviting each other to dance. Vasquez at 33. If he does lose this, you made mention that obviously it's not the end of the world for him, but you'd have to signal that this might be the telltale signs that yeah, the career is getting close.
Absolutely. Like we said in the Kelly fight, fighters give you clues about which way they're going. I think this is a clear clue that Vasquez is headed downhill. But I do think that he's got a strong case for a rematch if he loses the fight.
And Canizales has certainly answered a big question of himself as well. Can he step up in weight and certainly handle a little bit more power of Vasquez? Certainly he did here tonight and started to show a little bit of his own, but maybe not enough in this division.
And you know what? It could be very difficult for him when he gets in with a young junior featherweight.
Gotcha. Kind of matches the speed and the quickness that Canizales still has at 29.
Well, he had it tonight, but who knows if he gets in with a guy who's 25 and maybe more of a natural junior featherweight than he is, he could be in for big trouble himself.
Well, they still believe that Vasquez is the champion. They're running around and feeling that their man has won here.
Wow, wonder if they got a peek at the scorecards.
Here's the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Francisco Burak scores the bout 116 to 115. Roberto Ramirez scores the bout. Pardon me, Jack Woodruff scores the bout 117, 113. He has it for Canizales. Burak's score 116, 115 is for Vasquez. And Roberto Ramirez scores the bout 115, 113 for the winner by split decision. And still world champion.
So the Puerto Rican Vasquez retains his title by the slimmest of margins. But one gets the feeling Canizales is far from a spent force. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our fist